Right there, bro. Turn around. The seat is right there. Shameful. Terrorist, coward. Cowards! Cowards! Out of this neighborhood! Ice out of Minnesota! Ice out of Minnesota! Hey! 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 Nice fucking move!
Good evening, I'm Dagan McDowell.
And I'm Brian Brenberg. Welcome to The Bottom Line. Fox Business Alert. Mayhem in Minneapolis. Absolute chaos erupting in the streets after an ICE-involved shooting this morning, resulting in the death of a 37-year-old female alleged ICE agitator. Tonight, the Minneapolis City Council identifying her as Renee Nicole Good.
Before we look at the video of the scene, our Bill Malugin is reporting, based on multiple sources, none of the agents involved in this shooting were wearing body cameras. But let's look at this video of what happened. Agents in a truck pulling up to a car blocking the road as officers were attempting to carry out immigration enforcement operations.
One agent touches the car. The driver begins driving backwards. The driver then hits the gas while another agent is standing in front of the vehicle, who fires off at least 2 shots per local officials. DHS sources saying that the agent who fired the shots had been dragged by a car during an incident in Minneapolis last June. He is in the hospital.
Now, there will be an exhaustive investigation into this shooting. The investigation already begun. But what nobody wants is a winter of love, a repeat of the summer of 2020, when after the death of George Floyd, violent rioters burned parts of this same city to the ground under Mayor Jacob Frey's watch. His immediate response today was the absolute opposite of lowering the temperature in a moment when ICE agents face unprecedented threats.
We've dreaded this moment since the early stages of this ICE presence in Minneapolis. They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull. And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. Now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave.
Get the F out. Those are the words he chose. And in the next sentence, he urges love.
I understand the anger. Let's unite around hope and love and peace and getting justice. That's what we need to be doing right now.
The governor, who's having a heck of a week, is threatening to mobilize the Minnesota National Guard.
We've been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. Enough. Enough is enough. And so to Minnesotans, don't take the bait. Do not take the bait. Do not allow them to deploy federal troops into here.
Well, the governor also referred to our National Guard troops as if the state was pitted against the federal government. The president, responding to today's events on Truth Social, writing in part, quote, "The situation is being studied in its entirety. But the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. For more, let's bring in former acting DHS Secretary Chad Wolf. Chad, great to see you. The investigation is already underway, and as we said at the top of the show, Bill Malugin reporting that none of the agents involved in this shooting were wearing body cameras. But I want your reaction to the rhetoric that we heard from Mayor Fry and from Governor Walz today in terms of what they said and what they didn't say.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both of their comments were both sort of unintelligent, unhinged, and irresponsible. I mean, they said at one point, you know, let's take down the rhetoric, and then at the same time, they're clearly shifting blame and accusing law enforcement, ICE in this case, of doing something that they have no idea. The investigation is just now starting. You know, one of them may have seen a video of some kind and have drawn all sorts of conclusions here. But of course, their first instinct, their very first instinct is to say law enforcement did something wrong, instead of saying that, you know, all of these individuals that are impeding or obstructing law enforcement, that's a crime, right? And if a law enforcement officer feels threatened, they're able to to respond based on a variety of circumstances. But of course, either the mayor or the governor does that. Instead, they go after President Trump, the Trump administration. And what they don't tell, final point, what they don't tell their people is that this is largely because of their actions. Not allowing ICE to go into jail settings and pick up criminal illegal aliens requires ICE to go out into the streets of Minneapolis. If they would simply change their sanctuary city policies, you would see a different outcome.
Chad, if those sanctuary city policies were not in place, if local law enforcement could do what it does in other cities without sanctuary city policies, what might today have looked like? What would that situation in that neighborhood look like, and how would that have helped to prevent what happened today?
Well, what you would have saw and what we didn't see was actually Minneapolis police there helping ICE, protecting ICE, allowing ICE to do their job, and providing them the backup and you know, the support that they needed. At the same press conference the mayor spoke at, the police chief spoke at as well, and said that his officers responded to shots fired. Well, what that tells me is that they weren't there to begin with, and they should have been, as they are in almost every other city around the country that supports their law enforcement brothers and sisters when there's something going down in their city. But because of their sanctuary policies, the mayor has forbid the police department there to participate, to help ICE, to coordinate with ICE in any way. And so ICE, in some regards, is left out on its own. And unfortunately, when something like this happens and you have a crowd of individuals come in, you got to think about the law enforcement officer's perspective. Threats against ICE officers are up over 1,000%. They have bricks thrown at them, rocks thrown at them. They have a sniper in Texas taking shots at them. They have to protect themselves. And so this is the environment in which they're working in. It doesn't help that you have the governor and the mayor adding to that rhetoric.
And I want to point out, because you were talking about how the police department in Minneapolis is essentially told to stand down and stand back when it comes to ICE enforcement actions. But it goes beyond that. The police department, based on a memo that went out last year, cannot assist with crowd control or even the removal of people related to immigration enforcement. So, these individuals who work for the federal government are essentially left as sitting ducks. But the law is on the side when it comes to officers don't have to stop, say, shooting until the threat has stopped. And this is a broad statement on my part, but there's a decision that was handed down by the Supreme Court in 2014, 9-0, with Samuel Alito writing the majority opinion. And he said, if officers are justified in firing at a suspect in order to end a severe threat to public safety, the officers need not stop shooting until the threat has ended. Chad?
Yeah, I agree. There's case law out here that's on law enforcement side, which is to say if they perceive a threat in the course of their duties, right? Not hindsight, not looking at it after the fact, but in the moment, they're able to take appropriate action. And that's what you see here. Now, again, the investigation is going to have to unfold, and we'll see a lot more come out. But again, the fact that you have local politicians, including the mayor and the governor, again saying ICE is at fault here. They have no idea what they're talking about, zero idea what they're talking about. All they know is politically, they're in Minnesota. It's advantageous for them to be against ICE. And unfortunately, that's making the situation much more dangerous.
Chad, we appreciate your level-headed analysis. I wish some of that could be given to the leaders of Minneapolis and Minnesota right now.